Hello, we are night.py, and today we'll be looking at one of the most commonly asked interview questions, which is to append a missing element within an array with -1. So, I know this sounds a bit complicated, but let me explain this with an example. So, first, let's take a list called A, which has elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, we know that in every list, the indexing starts from 0. List A, 0 is missing. So what the program expects us to do is to give us an output like so -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what it does is it compares if the index number is present over in the actual list, and if the index number is not there, it appends with -1. So the to explain it further, A list has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the index of A is 0. So the index of 1 is 0, 2 is 1, 3 is 2, 4 is 3, and 5 is 4. So as you can see here, 0 is not present, but 1 is present, 2 is present, 3 is present, and 4 is present. So 0 is not present. So what it expects us to do is, instead of the place of 0, it expects us to put -1. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this should be the expected output for us. So let's look at how to code for this particular problem. Okay. So first, let's start off with the list. Let's call it L. L is equal to int of I for I in input dot split. So this is the only way you can input a list. There are multiple ways of inputting a list, but this is the simplest way in which you can input a list. And next, let's take a variable x, which will be equal to the length of the list. And next, let's take another list, empty list A, and another variable will assign it to 0. Okay, so next let's start a loop while I less than x. So here, while I is less than x, well, let's get another if condition. If L dot count of I is equal to 0, then a plus is equal to -1. This is append operation, and x plus is equal to 1. I'll explain shortly why we're doing x plus is equal to 1. And next, let's go to another else statement, which will close the if, and that will be a plus is equal to I. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so next let's increment I, the value of I plus is equal to 1, and let's print it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the whole program to solve the given question. So let's traverse the program and see how we have solved it. So there is one L. So L is an input. Let's consider L to be as 1, 2, 4, and 5. So as you can see here, the missing elements are 0, 3. So the list doesn't have 0, 3. So instead of the places of 0, 3, you have to append -1. So how do we do that? Let's check out the coding. So let L be the input, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X is equal to length of L. So the length is 4. And next A is another empty list, and I is equal to 0. So let's come to the first while loop. While I is less than x, is I is 0. Is 0 less than 4? Yes, it's true. So it goes to the if statement. If L dot count of I, here L dot count of I, it counts the number of occurrences of I. Here I is 0. So is number of times 0 occurs in I in L list, where L contains 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 4, and 5. So as we can see here, 0 occurs 0 times. So that is the condition for our if. So that is satisfied because it says that L dot count of is equal to 0. So the count of 0 in our list is 0. So the if is satisfied. So next, when you go to the next statement, it says a plus is equal to -1. So now currently A is an empty list. So what we're doing now is, in the position of 0, we're appending -1. because 0 doesn't exist in the current imported list. So currently a will have the value -1. So a will be equal to -1. And next x is equal to plus or minus x plus is equal to 1. So why we're doing x plus is equal to 1 is currently the length of L is 4, but when we add one more to it, it'll be 5. As we're adding, see, instead of 0 we're adding -1, the length is increasing by 1. So here we're increasing x plus is equal to 1, which increases the length of the array. Okay, so right now we're done with 0, and currently a will be equal to -1. Okay, that's already done. Okay, let's move on to next one. Next, since 1 is done here, next it'll skip the else part because it was already executed if part. And next I will be incremented by 1. So I was 0 here, now I will be equal to 1 here. So when I is 1, it checks if I is less than or equal to x. But here x has been incremented by 1. So x plus 1, the new x will be 5. So 1 is less than 5, that is correct. Now it checks if L dot count of 1, if in the list here is 1 present, and the answer is yes, because as you can see the first element in the list is 1. So it doesn't execute if statement and it directly comes to the else part. So here the else part says that a plus or equal to I. Here I is 1. So in a it next appends 1 into it, and next again I plus is equal to 1, it appends I becomes 2. Next it goes to the next element. So is I less than is 2 less than 5? Again true. If 2 is the number of count of 2 is 0 in the given list, no. The second element in the given list is 2. So the if part isn't satisfied and it goes to the else part, and again else in else the a will be appended by the element 2, and then the I will be incremented by one more number plus 1. So I becomes 3. So let's go to the next one. Here it's quite interesting because I is equal to 3, I is less than 5, which is true, but the count of 3 in list is 0. As you can see, we only have 1, 2, 4, and 5. 3 is missing. As you can see here, 3 is missing. So it sees that the count of 3 is 0. So it again comes into if loop. So here it says that a plus is equal to -1. So a will currently we have -1, and we have 1 and 2. So if we don't have the element in the list, this is for if element not in list. So as you can see here, 3 isn't present in the list. So what does it do now? It appends -1 into the list, and it also increments x by one value. So x here becomes 6. And moving on, let's go to the next one. It ignores the else because if it's already satisfied, and I plus is equal to 1, so I gets incremented once more and I becomes 4. Let's move on to the next one. So here I is equal to 4, x is equal to 6. I is less than 6. Check if L dot count of I is equal to 0. It checks if the count of the number 4 is 0. No, because the third element in L is 4. So the if doesn't get satisfied and it moves to else. So else a plus is equal to I. I currently is 4. So here instead of -1, because 4 is already present in the list, 4 gets appended to the new list which was an empty list A, and then I is equal to I plus 1, I becomes 5. So when I becomes 5, it checks again for the while list. Is 5 less than 6? Yes. Is 5 the number of times 5 will occurrence of 5 in the list equal to 0? No. As you can see, the last element here is 5. So we can see that 5 is already present in the list. So the if doesn't get executed, it directly goes to the else part. A plus or is equal to I. So the A will be appended by again 5, and I is equal to I plus 1. So I will be equal to 6. So what it does is, in case of while statement, it goes on till the first condition is satisfied. So here I is 6, x is 6. When it goes again to the top, is 6 less than 6? No. So here itself it gets terminated and it comes back, it directly comes to the print statement. Nothing else will be executed as the while itself is a false statement right now. So right now what we have is it prints A. So what do we have now right now? We have A as this, as you can see here. And let's check the initial list. The initial list L was 1, 2, 4 and 5. which had its indexes as index as 0, 1, 2, and 3. As we can see that 0 and 3 were missing from the list. Now we have added 0 and 3 to the list, but instead of 0 and 3, we have appended -1 and -1 in each. So now we can see that the index is well balanced. Index will be, for -1 it will be 0, for 1 it will be 1, for 2 it will be 2, for 3 the element wasn't there, so we appended -1, so 3, then 4 is already present, and 5. So this is how the following program works. Hope you like the video and the solution. If you do like it, click this like button and please subscribe for more videos.